Medical office staff training can have a tremendous impact on your business. Many prospective clients of ours come to us to try to generate leads. And that's great. You need leads. You have to have people coming in, phoning, booking online appointments, taking self-tests. All that's super, super important. But what happens when they come into the clinic and they need to meet with you to decide whether or not you're right for them to take them on that journey towards where it is that they want to go? We find that some of the biggest impacts can be achieved by simply training your staff to receive patients really, really well, to invite them into a journey that is emotional in nature, not just clinical, but really, really understands who they are, what their motivations are, and what they're hoping to achieve. Then positions everybody as almost like a choreography of handoffs between patient liaisons and healthcare technicians and optometrists, and then finally surgeons possibly. And that whole choreography ends up leading to an inevitable conclusion, which is the patient has really no other option than to choose you, because you've treated them so well, you've understood what their needs are, and you have told them when you're going to meet those needs. What else could they want more? So training is what allows you to be able to do all that within 90 minutes and efficiently and repeatedly, so that you can generate predictable conversion rates and predictable sales as a result. It can have a huge impact. So definitely don't ignore the value that you have within your clinic to generate massive amounts of improvements in your business.
So medical office staff training, wow, is this an opportunity for clinics? So I don't care if your clinic is in France, if it's in the US, if it's in New Zealand. We've worked with clinics all over the world, and this is by far one of the best levers that you can pull if you are trying to sort of, double your business. If you're on a very, very increased, growth curve, I think one of the things that will pop out to us when we assess a clinic, we take our clinics through a 5-step process to say, where are the problems in the clinic? Where are we leaving money on the table? All things considered, if you have the same number of leads, let's say 100 leads coming into a clinic, and you notice that, oh, that's interesting, in this clinic over here, 25 of those leads are going on to have a consultation. But in this clinic over here, 65 are going on to have a consultation. Well, that's more than double. You're going to double the business if you improve that conversion rate on the telephone. And then if you take it even further, let's say again, I'm going to use 100 again. Let's say you have 100 consultations in a clinic, and one clinic is converting 40 of those into patients, and another clinic is converting 60, 70, 80. And these are very typical differences between clinics that we see. Again, you're doubling the business without spending any more money on marketing. So if you feel like you have your marketing dialed in, or even if you don't, this can be a way to generate more out of what you already have. A really key problem with office teams in medical clinics is that you've created this really lovely rapport with your marketing. You set an expectation that you understand people, you're very warm and friendly and emotional. And then somebody calls you and they say, well, how much is it? And the person says, well, it's $3,000. And then they hang up. You just spent $500 potentially to get that phone to ring. And that conversation didn't go anywhere. And that is a real loss to a practice, because you can turn that question from how much does it cost into an emotional masterpiece of connection, where you actually understand why that person is calling, what it is that they're hoping to achieve out of the surgery, and using it as a conversation to determine with them, maybe this isn't for them, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but you're really trying to help them see that you're on their side to help them get what it is that they want. So training your team is a massive, massive part of your marketing journey. So that's on the telephone. And then the consultation, similarly, one of the key fault lines that you'll see in a clinic is the front reception desk. So often what happens is that person is stretched really thin, through no fault of their own. They have way too much to do. And you don't realize that actually by not having that person present and performing a very important role in your marketing function of greeting people and making them feel welcome and heard and continuing what we call brand scent, the message from your marketing into your clinic, you're really dropping things down a level, and you've already started to underperform on the promise you started in your marketing. And if you keep that promise up and keep what we call the excitement level up, and we have a stage called Excite in our marketing funnel, if you keep that up and then you roll right into a conversion conversation, you will see clinics going from 40 to 60%, for example, close rate at the consultation if they're untrained, to a 60 to 80% close rate at a consultation. That can dramatically impact your business, again, without changing what you spend on marketing. And on the telephone side, you can go from sort of a 15% up to, let's say, a 30% conversion rate on the telephone if somebody's untrained, anywhere up to 50, 60 and above for more boutique clinics that have a very, very high value proposition. So it really depends on the type of clinic you are. But that shift, even a 5% change, even going from 25% close rate on the telephone to a 30%, this can dramatically impact your bottom line. Like, we're talking about hundreds of thousands. So looking at this as an essential function of fixing what we call the marketing net is critical. And if you think about throwing fishes into a net, or kind of going fishing and drawing fishes into a net, if you're drawing fishes into a net with marketing, and yet at the other end you've got holes in your net from people on your telephones and at the consultation letting the fishes out, there's really not a lot of point to do that marketing. So we always suggest to check your net. Check your net, check your phone calls, check your consultation. How are you converting? I invite you to do that now. I would start here. Just take a look at your clinic, take a look at the last few months and see what your conversion rates are on the telephone, and see what your close rate is at the consultation. And then if you feel like you're not hitting those numbers that I mentioned, we should chat so that you can see, okay, there's money that I'm leaving on the table.
Back when you were in school, you had a relatively easy way to ascertain where you stacked up against your peers and colleagues. However, now that you're in a practice setting, it's a little bit tougher to know where you stack up, not only against your ideal, but also against your peers and your colleagues. And that's why we created the Premium Practice Score. And if you'd like to take that test, if you'd like to see where you stand up against the best in the world, or perhaps the best for yourself, you're able now to take that and then see where you stack up.